All right. Good day, evening, gentlemen, friends, ladies, well wishers, my followers, and also lovers of good governance all over the world. It is my pleasure once again today to come to you. I am always perturbed by what I consider as a vicissitude of life in our society. Today I shall be looking at the topic says Africa politics, coup d'etat, and need for the survival of Africa. We are all aware, many who are following the news have observed series of coup that has taken effect or taken place in some of Africa countries, Burkina Faso, in Mali, and the most recent, Niger Republic. A lot of people have condemned, criticized, and asked for disallowance of the persistence of Q and also call upon necessary authorities to condemn Q and also to destroy, to bring to book the coup plotters. My concentration today will be on Niger Republic. We are all aware that a few days ago, the ECOWAS region, the heads of ECOWAS, sat at the headquarters of ECOWAS at Abuja and took certain decisions on how to deal with Niger Republic and also the coup that took place in Niger Republic. I am not a proponent of coup. I am not a proponent of military intervention or military taking over. That era has actually come and gone. But then, I have made certain submissions in regards to this. What most people who are criticizing coup, who are criticizing militarization of politics in some of these African countries don't want to look into includes the factors that animated the coup, the remote and immediate factors that animated this coup, that made these coups to become possible, that warranted this coup. I want to just synthesize something. I took time to read, from the present, the head, the military junta, the one who is in charge now in Niger. I took time to read a lot of articles, a lot of submissions, a lot of write-ups on this, vis-a-vis the relationship of Niger Republic and that of France. If you look at Nigerian foreign policies or the Africa at large, the foreign policies of African countries, you will observe that what is obtainable in Africa vis-a-vis the Western world is what one can say or we say to be a romance without intention for sex, or a kind of romantic relationship which has no intention of marriage. This has been the nature of foreign relationship between Africa and the Western world. They will come and romance you. They will come and promise you all sort of things and take away what you have. And that is what is obtainable in Niger. It is on the news that Niger, 15% of natural resources in Niger, especially gold and uranus, is being taken away from Niger by France. And also I heard and I also read that most times in Niger, when they capture terrorists, they will not execute terrorists, they will also wait an order from French government to determine whether a terrorist can be destroyed, a terrorist can be dealt with, a terrorist can be killed, or a terrorist can be prosecuted. We observed this during the time of, the immediate past President Muhammad Buhari, where soldiers will be at the forefront, faced with the terrorists, but you will be waiting for an order from above before you execute, thereby leading to the deaths of thousands of Nigerian soldiers, leaving their families to suffer. Like I have submitted, I am not a proponent. I am not a supporter. I am not an advocate of militarization in politics or military taking over politics or coup d'etat. But my position is this. If the resultant effect of coup is to better the society, I think it should be considered. Once again, if the outcome, what will be the outcome of such coup, is to better the lives and the livelihood, the standard of living of people, such coup should be considered. I am not calling for coup, but I'm calling what are those things. If you take a historical antecedent and discussion on coups in Nigeria, for example, you always see, and the coup plotters will always come up with that prologue that will tell you that they are taking over as a result of corruption. To curb corruption, to curb misappropriation of funds, to make society, to sanitize society. This is exactly what happened in Nigeria. The Nigerians, as we have witnessed, are happy that coup has taken place. I observed and I saw videos where they are busy celebrating, celebrating and jubilating that an evil government, so to say, a corrupt leader, has been overtaken, has been captured, and he is in detention, and he is in custody of the military juntas. Now, back home, what are we experiencing presently in Nigeria? Is life here and the means of livelihood better here in Nigeria? Today, the Nigerian Labour Congress, the TUC, the trade leaders, and all the rest of them are on the street, came out on the street to protest against poverty, against policies targeted at the poor, against policies that are not better for the betterment of the poor, against so many things. The hike in price of fuel, the high cost of standard of living, the high cost of governance. One will also say that Nigeria is more or less not at ease. Nigeria is more or less not at ease. But we're not praying for coup. We are praying for a better Nigeria. We are praying for better institutional changes. So, Mr. President, Mr. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR, I listened to his broadcast on Saturday, and one can easily grasp anything meaningful, anything tangible, any policy, any program, any paradigm, or any approach targeted at ameliorating the suffering of the masses. It is high time that our politicians think twice. I observe in Niger burning of houses, burning of cars, beating of politicians. We don't want such in Nigeria anyways. But our leaders must not push the poor masses to the wall. Because when you push a man to the wall, he will use his last power to revenge. He will use his last power to strike. The Nigerian leaders, this is a signal for them to amend their ways. We observe the so-called ministerial nominee confirmation by the 10th Senate. All we see is bow, bow, and take a bow, and take a bow. Enough of all this. Enough of all these issues. Nigeria has to move forward. Our leaders have to initiate ideas that will make the poor masses breathe. And I say, let the poor breathe. Let the rich think twice to avoid the replica of Niger Republic. Thank you and God bless you.